But does it sound about right that there's been 18,000 contributions
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
in the amount of like $170,000?
Absolutely not.
What about $18,850?
I doubt that.
Have you donated to ActBlue in the past?
I don't believe so.
You're listed as someone who's given over 31,000 individual contributions to various causes for a total of $230,000 using your name in this address.
No, that's not us.
James O'Keefe began investigating ActBlue and found peculiar instances where individuals had been making, 3,000 donations over a short period, elderly individuals. Now, that couldn't possibly be true, right? Straw donations. People are contributing in someone else's name, but who, how, and why? Then you have a fear of foreign donations, much in the same way. And now, my friends, it has begun. Trump has ordered the probe of foreign funding and straw donors in elections after ActBlue fraud claims. President Trump signed a memo Thursday ordering a probe of any illicit straw donors or foreign funding that flowed into federal elections following claims the largest Democratic fundraising platform has accepted fraudulent contributions in 2024. Based on the evidence I have seen, I am of the opinion that it is a fact that ActBlue is funneling foreign donations into the Democratic Party and to themselves. I can show you some of the claims. Here's what I'm going to do. Instead of, we've already got a clip of James O'Keefe investigating these things, but instead of going through what he has to say, how about I show you what those trying to debunk the claims have to say? What do you think it would mean if to debunk the claim, they argued actually it was largely true, but so what, who cares? That's their debunk. I kid you not. In one article, they said it's not actually a big deal that one individual made 2,400 donations totaling $21,000. That seems totally normal. It really doesn't, especially for elderly people on fixed incomes. Now, Trump has ordered this, and here's what we have from the White House. Fact sheet: President Donald J. Trump investigates unlawful straw donor and foreign contributions in American elections. Investigating straw donors, today President Donald J. Trump signed a presidential memorandum to crack down on illegal straw donor and foreign contributions in American elections, following reports and congressional investigations regarding potentially unlawful activities through ActBlue and other online fundraising platforms. The memorandum directs the Attorney General to investigate and take appropriate action concerning allegations regarding the use of online fundraising platforms to make straw or dummy contributions and to make foreign contributions to U.S. political candidates and committees, all of which break the law. Specifically, the memorandum notes that a congressional investigation revealed significant fraud schemes using ActBlue, and over a 30-day period during the 2024 election cycle, hundreds of ActBlue donations from foreign IP addresses using prepaid cards, despite it being illegal for foreign nationals to contribute to U.S. elections. It instructs the Attorney General to report the results of the investigation to the President through the Council of the President. You know what I got to say, man? Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and the rest at the DOJ. We all remember what the Democrat uniparty machine, because there were neocons joining with the Democratic Party, did to Trump's associates, his lawyers. They sought to destroy their lives. Some cowered and cried like babies. Others stood tall. Understand that when Donald Trump approached these individuals, like Pam Bondi, Kash, Dan, and everybody else, Pete Hegseth, they knew exactly what they were signing up for. If you do not win, it will be worse for you than you could possibly imagine. You take a look at what they did to Roger Stone, raiding his house in the wee hours of the morning. What they did to Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, putting them in prison. You take a look at how they tried to frame George Papadopoulos and Michael Flynn. Take a look at what they did with Paul Manafort. Now imagine you were asked by the president to come in and do this job and weed out the corruption in this country. You know that if you do not succeed here, it's all over. The memorandum goes on to say, protecting American democracy, or I believe the statement from the White House, President Trump is taking action to address malign actors and foreign nationals who seek to illegally influence American elections, undermining the integrity of our electoral process. Recently uncovered evidence suggests that online fundraising platforms are being used to launder excessive and prohibited contributions to political candidates and committees. Bad actors have sought to evade federal source and amount limitations by breaking down large contributions into smaller ones, often attributing them to numerous individuals without their consent or knowledge. These straw donations are frequently made through dummy accounts using methods such as gift cards or prepaid credit cards to avoid detection. ActBlue has become notorious for its lax standards that enable unverified and fraudulent donations. A recent House investigation found that ActBlue detected at least 22 significant fraud campaigns in recent years, nearly half of which had a foreign nexus. Over a 30-day window during the 2024 election cycle, ActBlue detected 237 donations from foreign IP addresses using prepaid cards. The investigation revealed that ActBlue trained employees to, quote, look for reasons to accept contributions, even in the face of suspicious activity. Until recently, ActBlue accepted political contributions without requiring a card verification value, CVV, making it easy to contribute without identity verification. Before addressing the issue in response to a congressional investigation, ActBlue tested whether this would hurt its fundraising. Numerous state attorneys general have opened investigations into ActBlue over suspicious donations made through obscured identities and untraceable means. Voters deserve elections they can trust, and that confidence is being restored thanks to President Trump. President Trump is following through on his promise to secure our elections. Quote, we're going to fix our elections so that our elections are going to be honorable and honest. We will secure our elections and they will be secure once and for all. Trump recently signed an executive order to protect the integrity of American elections. Unlike the Biden admin, which prioritized political agendas over fair elections, President Trump is putting the American people back in charge. Now, we have this story from October of last year. ActBlue lobbies up amid GOP probes. They say ActBlue, the left's favorite online donation platform, is turning to K Street as it looks to beat back accusations of lax security and donor fraud brought forward by state and federal Republican officials. A former Senate Rules aide who helped craft the updated bipartisan Electoral Count Act reform bill in 2022 began lobbying for ActBlue on September 9th on the secure handling of internet electronic donations, or SHIELD. Sure. The SHIELD Act. I think you're missing a letter in there. The SHIELD Act. The SHIELD Act has been introduced days earlier by House Admin Chair Brian Steele. It stemmed from an investigation into concerns that ActBlue wasn't verifying its donors properly because it did not require them to provide 3-digit CVV codes on the back of their cards. Among other things, Stiles' bill would bar political committees from accepting contributions if a CVV code was not provided, and would also bar donations made using gift cards, prepaid credit or debit cards, or gift certificates. While a similar bill introduced by Senator Marco Rubio last year has stalled in the Senate, the SHIELD Act advanced out of committee to the House floor on September 11th via a voice vote. Well, my friends, we have this. This is from the Maryland House of Delegates, Annapolis, from 2023. They wrote, and I'll only read a little bit, Dear State Prosecutor Howard, we were writing today to request an investigation of campaign finance irregularities in Maryland. We were shocked and concerned to see recent video from James O'Keefe, which appears to expose massive campaign contribution fraud. The video can be viewed here. Of course, you can actually click the link. The people being interviewed have allegedly been used for logging multiple campaign contributions to ActBlue, totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yet when asked, these people have said that while they have made some donations, they were sure it was not the quantity and the amount that is recorded in the books. The video shows individuals in Annapolis being asked if they made these donations. In one instance, $217,000 was made through 12,000 separate donations over 3 years in the name of one Maryland resident. If these allegations are true, this represents a serious issue that needs to be quickly resolved. Okay. Maryland Matters. MarylandMatters.org says, expert. Irregularities are dubious. Oh, thank God. I was concerned for a minute. Democrats were cheating and stealing our elections. But we all know that was fake news because, last year's election and the one before that were the freest and fairest and most secure elections we've ever had. I just want to add how frustratingly stupid the most secure election we've ever had. Anybody who actually believes that is developmentally disabled or is lying to you. If they came to me and said there was fraud, but we don't really think it was on a scale that affects the outcome, I'd go, okay, well, let's see what we find. But when they come out and say, actually, not only was there no fraud, it was the most secure ever, literally, ever had, oh, yeah? Yeah, right, dude. Here we go from Maryland Matters. A well-known conservative provocateur, James. Who are you provoking out here? What is that, provocateur? Attempted to make a splash in April by alleging that Maryland residents had fallen victim to a money laundering scheme by National Democratic Fundraising Organization. Yeah, he's probably right. OKeefe said data provided by citizen journalists showed some donors may have unwittingly fallen victim to what appears to be a money laundering scheme. OKeefe alleges that the names and addresses of some people are being used without their permission to make thousands of donations totaling tens and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. But many of the claims in the VO are difficult to independently recreate and appear overstated. In some cases, contributions may have been double counted or more because of how federal election reports treat donations sent to campaigns through entities such as ActBlue and WinRed, a Republican counterpart. Fair point. If you donate to ActBlue, it's going to track that, and then ActBlue is going to donate that to the candidate or whatever, and they might double count it. Maybe. But here's what they actually found and where it gets really funny. Let's go up to their report. In O'Keefe's video, an Annapolis resident is alleged to have made more than 3,000 donations to ActBlue, totaling more than $32,000 since 2020. Mind you, this story is from a couple of years ago. This is from 2023. So we're talking about over a 3-year period. That means they do about 1,000 donations, or just about 3 donations per day. Okay, I really doubt people are sitting on the computer and donating 3 times a day. The donor did not answer questions of the donations. A check of federal campaign records by the donor by Maryland Matters, using more precise search terms, showed less activity. Oh, James, you were wrong. What was that less activity? Let's debunk this. The retiree had made 2,213 donations to ActBlue, totaling $21,730. It wasn't 3 donations per day every day with no days off for 3 years. It was 2. For real? During the same time period, despite O'Keefe's questioning of the donations, they don't appear to violate any federal limits. That was not the point. The point was nobody every single day is making 2 donations. Every day. Maybe they're getting a bunch of different spam blasts on Facebook and they keep clicking a bunch of random campaigns that are ActBlue. I doubt it. Because it's not actually going to be 2 per day. Likely, these individuals are not really online all that time. These are elderly folks who don't live on the internet like we do. So how are they doing it? No answer? None? That was your debunking? They say in another instance, O'Keefe alleged an Annapolis resident donated $217,000 over a 3-year period. He did not identify nor speak to the alleged donor on camera. When asked if the video provided the kind of evidence to suggest that a sophisticated money laundering scheme was taking place, note he said, not even remotely. He questioned a point in the video where O'Keefe said one donor made contributions using different combinations of his name and address. Well, that might be different people, and some of the searches that they show are fairly common names. So we would need to know a lot more about what he's saying in variation of what they did determine that is, in fact, the same person or the different person. You want to know what you do? You look up the name and address. And then when the same name has the same address as listed, you know that it's the same person. This is the worst debunking I've ever seen. We found one expert to say that we're not actually doing illegal things. Debunked. Okay, well, I'm an expert and I'm rebunking it. Well, actually, I should say Donald Trump is asking that Pam Bondi rebunk it. It has begun, my friends. It has begun. Everybody wants to see arrests. Everybody's saying, why ain't Cash and Dan doing nothing? As I explained to you already, do you guys really think that Cash Patel and did I say Dan Bondi? Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi? Do you really think that these individuals are going to just sit back and let the deep state take the power to crush them? Cash was a victim of the deep state. If they do not win, they're cooked. So I'm fairly confident. Donald Trump didn't need to issue this memorandum. This is a shot across the bow. So let's see what happens. Crazy story, my friends. I hope Trump gets the job done. Stick around. We got more segments coming up throughout the day. Stay tuned, and we'll see you all in the next bit. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We'll see you soon.